This is the 2022 Asus ROG Zephyrus M16 and the model number is GU603ZW to be exact. Now, this is one of those overpowered Windows gaming / productivity laptops that knock it out of the ballpark with everything, whether it is world-class performance, great design, as well as being super expensive if we're considering expensive things to, score higher on the chart. But all in all, this is a laptop that has replaced my Windows computer and any other laptop, and I'm using this as my main laptop for doing everything that I do, whether that is gaming or 4K 10-bit video editing, as well as other productivity applications. This is what I have been using for a little over 4 months now. This video is not sponsored by Asus or by anybody else for that matter. These are my own personal opinions, and I bought this laptop with my own money. It cost me 2.4 lakhs. So we're going to be talking about whether that money was worth it for buying this laptop. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, sit back. This is going to be a long one because I have a lot to talk about. And hopefully, if you're planning to pick this one up for yourself, it should be something that you enjoy watching as well. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Alright, let's talk about this laptop and why I chose this one. Now, earlier, as you guys knew, I was a Windows PC guy. I still have a secondary PC that I have given to my brother and he uses it for his schoolwork now. But as of now, this Asus M16 is my primary device. And by primary device, I mean that I use this for every single thing that I do. Now, whether that is gaming, or video editing, or making Instagram reels, photo editing on Lightroom, making thumbnails on Photoshop, doing a little bit of audio stuff on FL Studio or on Adobe Audition, I do a lot of heavy stuff and I do it all on this laptop. So I want to talk about why I chose this laptop in the first place. As you all know, in this price point, there are a lot of laptops that you can go for, but there was one thing that I needed and one thing that this laptop does really well. And no, I'm not talking about performance. That is portability. Now, look at this laptop. It is not very heavy. It's not, very big and thick and not portable at all, which a laptop should be. I needed something that I could travel with and still work off of. So I couldn't get an Alienware or let's say the Lenovo Legion 5i Pro. They are great laptops. Gaming performance is even better because of a higher TDP than this one, but they are huge and very thick and extremely bulky, which is a deal breaker for me. That is why I picked the M16. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the good things that this laptop has. I'm not going to bore you in this video with benchmarks as well as random tests, but I'm going to talk about the real world performance that an average user like you or me would have if they would buy this computer themselves. So the first good thing that I want to talk about is this absolutely beautiful display. Now, when I say a beautiful display, trust me, this is absolutely amazing. It's a 16-inch QHD panel, but it's an IPS panel running at 165 Hz with a 16:10 aspect ratio. That's right, it's got a 16:10 aspect ratio, making the resolution effectively about 2560 to 1600 pixels, and it has almost 100% of the DCI-P3 color gamut and almost 100% of the Adobe sRGB curve as well. Now, what that means in layman's terms is that this is a great display. It's IPS, it's higher resolution, it's a little taller because it's 16:10, and it's also color accurate. Now, to a lot of you, color accuracy might not be important, but to a person who regularly edits and color grades videos for a living, I cannot sacrifice a display which is faster in the refresh rate but is not exactly color accurate, because I need my colors to be accurate when I am color grading, which is why this display is absolutely amazing. It literally ticks all of the boxes. It's a big bright display, it has a high refresh rate, it's color accurate. I don't know what else I could ask for. So this is one of the great things that I think you guys will really enjoy when you look at the display. Okay, number 2, you have a great gaming display. What is the other thing that you need to look for when you're buying a gaming laptop? Performance, of course. Now this thing is an absolute beast, especially when it comes to CPU power. So this bad boy has the 12th gen Intel Alder Lake, which is a Core i9-12900H to be exact, which basically has about 90 watts of power. So the Core i9-12900H has 14 cores, 20 threads. It's a hybrid design with 6 high-performance hyper-threaded cores and 8 extra efficiency cores working together based on demand. and this allows the processor to run up to 90 watts of sustained power in demanding CPU loads, especially in the turbo mode. Now that means that whenever you have any CPU intensive application, whether you're doing, digital audio processing, or you're using a lot of Premiere and Photoshop that are more CPU intensive than GPU, this processor knocks it out of the ballpark. It has a few cons, we'll get to that later, but as far as raw power is concerned, this is one of the best processors that you can hope to have in a laptop. But in a gaming laptop, what do you need? Other than good processing power, of course, good GPU power, and that is where the RTX 3000 series comes in. Now my variant has a 3070 Ti with 8GB of VRAM, and this in itself is also really good. Now the 3070 Ti is of course not top of the line, especially today now that the 4090 laptops are out, but trust me when I say this, for high-end gaming as well as for 4K 10-bit video editing, this is all you need. This combination is all you need, and it works really well in my opinion. Now the 3070 Ti only has a max TDP in this laptop of 120 watts, which is why you'll see a lot of the other laptops running the same GPU getting higher frames in certain games, but the 120 watts of max TDP for me is not that big of a flaw, because the form factor of this laptop is really thin, and as I said, for me portability is actually more important than a few extra frames in a few games. And then again, the gaming performance is top notch. When we're talking about RAM, you're looking at 32GB of DDR5 memory, and the storage is also completely M.2, so this one comes with a PCI Gen 4 M.2 1TB SSD along with a separate M.2 slot that you can upgrade it by yourselves or sell it to Asus or take it to anybody and upgrade the storage later if you want to. Now I really like the performance of this laptop clearly because it's got so many good things about it: a great display, great memory, great fast storage, great GPU and great CPU. There's nothing that you could not ask for this laptop. The only thing, as I said, is the TDP, but that is also okay because of the portability of this laptop. Alright, now that we have all the good things out of the way, let's get to the cons, because there are a few cons and I wouldn't feel completely honest not talking about these things because I have faced them myself. Number one, it gets loud. Now remember that CPU that I was talking about that has absolutely unprecedented performance? It comes at a cost, and that is fan noise. Now when you put this device, and trust me, when you put it on turbo mode, which is the mode that you are going to be using it at whenever you're going to be doing something very intensive, whether it's gaming or video editing or anything really where you need the most performance, this thing screams. It's really loud in the sense that it's gonna be basically unusable. For example, right now I'm recording this video, I have it on silent mode, so the fans are not spinning and ruining up the entire audio. That is something which is a cost that you have to take into consideration. But in my opinion, the benefit that you get out of that noise after taking care of that noise is absolutely incredible. So I would recommend it 100% without any issues. But you should know that it also gets hot. Hotter to the point that, closer to the screen over here, when you're gaming, you won't be able to touch it. And another design flaw, I don't know whether it is that this laptop is based on a hinge. So because of that hinge, the vents are placed in such a way that the air directly projects onto part of the screen, the lower part of the screen. Now, a lot of people have already spoken about that, and Asus themselves have said that it shouldn't affect, the display in any way. And my display is completely fine till now, and I've had it at turbo mode for as long as I can remember whenever I'm working. So no problems there, but we can only assume that everything stays okay in the long term, because you don't really know what might happen. So I'm letting you know about this as well. Next, I want to talk about the Armory Crate application, which is what you're going to be using to cycle between the different modes. It's basically, the software that you're going to be using whenever you want to change anything about this laptop. The Armory Crate application can be a little wonky. Now, of course, you've got the 4 modes, which is silent, performance, turbo, and manual, where you can set everything yourself. You can also set up custom fan patterns. So, based on your use case scenario. The laptop also has a mux switch, which directly powers up the RTX graphics card. So you gain a little extra frames because it doesn't have to go through the Intel integrated laptop graphics again. So I have that turned on as well. But the problem that I faced were with my M1 and M2 volume keys. Now the keys work absolutely fine when I program them to do anything else, but the volume controls no longer work. Now I think it could be fixed by resetting the laptop and formatting it and setting it up as new. But this is something I faced that you really shouldn't be facing when you spend so much money on a laptop. The next thing that I want to talk about is the battery life. Now, you assumed it, and we all know it. When it comes to gaming laptops, the battery life is not that great, especially because you are not going to get the most performance anyway when you're going to be using it on battery mode. So yeah, the battery life is pretty average. I would say if you have it on performance mode unplugged, I think you'll get a maximum of 2 to 2.5 to 3 hours on a good day. But start gaming or watching 4K videos or doing anything intensive and you'll see that battery life going down pretty quickly. Now, it's not a problem for me because I am using this laptop in a desktop fashion. So I have it plugged in almost all of the time. I use it with a separate keyboard and a mouse on a desk, and I use it as a desktop. But if you want something that works really well, even when it is not plugged in, this is going to perform well, but the battery life is going to suffer. So keep an eye on that. As far as gaming is concerned, I would say that the games run extremely well. I've played a lot of games on it, whether it's Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, GTA 5, all of the main games, Red Dead Redemption 2. Currently, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, which is a brand new game. Even the day one patch isn't out yet, and it runs on Ultra just fine at the native resolution with about 70 to 75 FPS as an average. I think that's really great for a brand new game that is completely not optimized yet for Windows. I've also been playing The Crew 2 a lot, and that game has a lock of 60 FPS and it almost always, locks in at 60, no problems whatsoever. Gaming is not going to be an issue with this laptop. You could nitpick, talk about how there are a couple of other laptops at the same price who gain a few extra frames, but let's be honest, when you're gaming, you won't notice anything because all these laptops at this price point have great gaming performance. So yeah, gaming and video editing, my 4K 10-bit 10-minute videos get rendered in Adobe Premiere Pro on the turbo mode in 5 to 6 minutes, and I'm happy with that. The timeline performance is also great, so I don't really mind anything. Performance-wise, this laptop is absolutely awesome. Another good thing that I want to talk about is the extensive I/O and ports that is available to us. So of course, you've got your power port, you've also got an HDMI 2.0, you've got two USB-A 3.2 Gen 1, an HDMI 2.0 LAN, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a Kensington lock, one USB-C Thunderbolt 4 that can charge your laptop and provide a display output of up to 100 watts, and another USB-C Gen 2 with data and video. Now, this is great. It weighs only 2 kgs, and I think that is great. Now, you will notice that I didn't speak about the keyboard and the trackpad. They're great. They're really nice. The keyboard has a little less travel than I would have wanted it to, but it's solid. There's not a lot of wonking. You've also got RGB lighting that you can cycle through the Armory Create app, and of course a really nice trackpad. But the reason that I didn't talk about it is because I always use an external mechanical keyboard and my Logitech MX Master 2. So I'm not going to be talking about everything that you can do with it, but if you are going to be using a gaming laptop, at least you're going to have a separate mouse. So I think that's not as important. But yeah, when you are using it as a normal laptop, I think the trackpad is big and it's very nice to use, and the keyboard is also very nice with that RGB lighting. And I really like the way that everything in this laptop performs. And I think that's all that I have left to talk about. The speakers, if anybody wants to know, they're good. They're not MacBook level, but then again, no Windows laptop is. But this has got like a cool system. So you've got, the subwoofers at the bottom and the tweeters at the top. So they give you a more surround sound experience. And yeah, the sound is pretty good. Not as good as a MacBook Pro, but definitely better than most Windows laptops out there. And I think that is pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about this laptop. I think if you want a laptop in this sub 2.5 lakh range, this is something that you can definitely consider, because you can actually use it as a laptop. It's pretty portable, pretty lightweight. Number 2, you're not gonna have any problems with the design because it looks really clean and minimal. Doesn't scream RGB, doesn't look like a gaming laptop from every angle in case you don't want it to. And I really like the display as well as the performance of it. There you go. That was a completely honest review of the Asus ROG M16. I'm excited to continue using this as my primary device, whether I am traveling or I'm home making videos. This laptop still hasn't given me anything to be disappointed with. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, you guys have a great day. Stay safe. Bye.